Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Gana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpataruvyaschа Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We welcome all of you on behalf of the Education Department of ISKCON Chile to our online weekly Krishna book classes. Thank you very much for joining. Let's see, we have with us here Auntie Nita, Aja, Devina, Durga Prasad, Hari, Joli Nandwani. Then we have Kamala Nandini Mataji. We have Karuna, Manjuni Halani, Meenakshi. We have N.C. Venkatchari, Priyanka Jha. My husband is there. We have Ritu Lalwani, Shailesh Latkar, Shivani, Shreya Kalaria. We have Shri Radha Hari Devidasi Mataji. We have Swapna Latkar. And we have Upasna Dalai. Okay. So what did we see in the previous class? In a very long chapter.
We're talking about Rasa Leela, the beginning.
The beginning of the Rasa Leela, no? Very nice. So how old was Krishna when he performed this Rasa Leela?
8.
8 years old.
So how did it all begin? Because Krishna wanted to fulfill the desire of the gopis. Previously, they had observed the Katyayani Vrata. They prayed to goddess Katyayani that they want to have Krishna as their husband. So it's the autumn season, the place is Vrindavan, and he's dealing with his dearmost devotees, the gopis, who are the purest of the pure devotees that Krishna has. So everything was, the scene was set, everything was ideal, the atmosphere was ideal. And Krishna said, okay, now I'm going to fulfill the desire of the gopis. So what did he do to attract the gopis?
Played the flute.
Played the flute.
He played the flute, no? And it's described how there is no such woman anywhere in the whole of creation who can resist not going to Krishna when he plays the flute. So he has different tunes for different purposes. And this time he played this particular tune in order to attract all the gopis. So the gopis, they just dropped whatever they're doing and they just rushed to Krishna. So then what happened? When all the gopis reached Krishna, what did Krishna tell them?
That why are you like here, in the midnight?
Yes, why are you here? And he told them that you must go back. And then what did the gopis say? Were the gopis willing to go back?
No.
No. So they are no mood to go back because they cannot leave Krishna. And then begins the Rasa dance. We saw the beginning of the Rasa dance. And then because the gopis became proud, they were thinking that Krishna is giving me special attention. Then Krishna disappeared from their midst, isn't it? Okay. So today, yeah, Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
I had a question last week which I didn't want to ask because it was a really long chapter.
Okay.
But we say that once you go to Vaikuntha, you can't fall down. But then here we see, and in this chapter, of course, they describe that even Radharani shows pride, and then they're considered that so that's why Krishna disappears. So does that mean that they've fallen, or is it just a leela?
It is only a Leela. It's not possible that exalted devotees, especially Srimati Radharani, she is the topmost of all of Krishna's devotees. So there is no question of her falling down. And she and the other gopis, they are eternal associates of Krishna. So they are here in this material world not because of why we are in this material world, because of our past karmic reactions. But they are here because they are eternal associates. Whenever Krishna descends or wherever Krishna descends in the material world to play his leelas, they accompany him. So this pride is a transcendental pride. It is something that is set up by Krishna's Leela Shakti, Leela potency, and therefore this whole pastime plays out. And why Krishna wants to play out such Leelas is because he is Leela Purushottam. He wants to attract us. That's why.
I was under the impression it means that they have fallen even temporarily, but that's what it means, is what my understanding was. Fine.
Yeah, it's a transcendental fall down also. It's like a stage play, like you have this theater artists, they'll do a play in one place, then they wrap up, they go to another place, and then they do the play. It's like that. These are eternal associates of Krishna playing on the pastimes.
So then, is there a possibility then that even though you want to Vaikuntha, if you have a tinge of pride, then you'll fall down?
See, the point is, we were all originally in the spiritual world, and then we became envious of the Lord, and therefore we wanted to be Krishna. We wanted to see what it is like to be Krishna. I want to be the boss, I don't want to be the servant. So the minute that thought comes in our mind, we fall down. Now, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita repeatedly that once we reach the spiritual world, we will not fall down. So So what is the guarantee that again we will not have those thoughts after we go back to the spiritual world? And why we will not fall down is because now we
Exactly,
have learnt our
exactly.
lesson. Now we have learnt our lesson. So if we become proud, we will fall down again. But the point is we will not become proud again because now we have learnt our lesson.
But
Just like how
I even I completely agree with you, and I thought in a similar way. But then my the when I was reading this chapter, then a thought occurred to me: if Radha Rani can show pride, then who are we? We are no one.
no,
So
but our pride and her pride is totally different. Our is in the material, at the material level, but see, the pride of the conditioned souls is at the material platform. Her pride is transcendental. It is on the spiritual platform. It's different. She is doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. She's acting that pastime for the pleasure of Krishna,
okay,
and also Krishna's Leela Shakti, the Leela potency, she makes Srimati Radharani and the Gopis and Krishna also to perform in a particular way.
okay,
If you read the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it appears in many places that Krishna's
okay,
Leela potency made Krishna do such a thing like that. It is his
okay,
Shakti, but that Shakti, because Krishna wants it, his Shakti is putting Krishna also under a situation where he has to behave in a particular way like that. So that
okay.
pride is transcendental, it is completely spiritual. It's not compared to the pride of the conditioned souls. Okay. Aja?
My question, Mataji, is there a way? How can we remove that feeling? Krishna's giving me more attention. Is there any technique that
The feeling of what? The feeling of?
Krishna's giving me more attention? That's also pride, you said, right? And then Krishna disappeared from Ras Leela. Krishna, we all have that feeling, at least fraction of second. We feel that. How can we? Is there any?
So the more we engage in devotional services, the more we engage, especially in the chanting of the holy name, all such feelings of pride or anger or lust or anger or greed, all these feelings can be removed. All these, what do you call it? The dust on the say it's compared to the dust of the mirror of the heart. Just as how when we start cleaning, a mirror is covered with dust and we start cleaning the mirror, then later we can see our reflection clearly in the mirror. So in the same way, when we chant, it is like we are wiping away the dust on the mirror, and then we can see ourselves. What is our eternal position? Our eternal position is that we are the servants of Krishna. So then human qualities like humility will automatically develop. So chanting is very, 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 very powerful, very, very potent. See, sometimes when something is freely available, we tend to not value it so much. No, air is free, so we don't value air. But if we are not able to breathe, then very soon we are like, we are on the verge of death. So when something is freely available, we don't value it so much. So Hare Krishna mantra, now it is freely available to us because we are in Kali Yuga, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened it up for everyone. So we tend to take it for granted. But that Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is very, very powerful to remove all these anarthas from our heart. So if you want to remove such feelings, then take to the chanting of the holy name more and more and more. It will automatically remove these feelings. You don't have to artificially endeavor that, oh, I don't want to be proud. You cannot artificially endeavor such things. But when we chant, then automatically that cleaning, that purification takes place by default. Very, very powerful mantra. Okay.
Yeah, but these feelings comes when you get more closer to Krishna, right? When
So
you
that's what that
chant
will
and
that will also go. You keep on chanting. You keep
okay.
on chanting. Initially, when you start cleaning a room full of dust, the dust is going to perturb you, no? The dust is going to go into your nose, into your eyes. It is going to cause disturbance. But doesn't mean you stop cleaning the room. You continue cleaning, continue cleaning, and then the day will come when the room will be spick and span.
Oh, okay. Upon Krishna's mercy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Shreya?
Yeah, when you were talking about valuing, air and everything which is free, I just got reminded of this lecture by Nittai Sevani Mataji. She was talking about salted bread, the book, about the Russian devotees. So
Yes.
when they were in the prison, they said that when they came out, they valued the sunlight so much. They valued their hands so much because they were like handcuffed, and they couldn't do anything. But
Wow.
still, they were chanting their 16 rounds in the prison, making, I don't know if you have read it, but like uh, they were making beads out of a bread
They
and
were
they were
making
chanting
what out of a bread? Beads out of bread. Oh, okay.
because
Wow.
they were served this bread, which was like really full of water or something. So they used to keep it on the window, and then the sunlight used to come. It used to dry in 3 days, and then they used to make beads out of it. And then
Jai.
the thread was by their socks, and that's how they used to chant. And they didn't miss their 16 rounds.
Jai.
Like I
So
was like
inspiring.
so inspired to read that book. I was like, and then it was called salted bread because they were just given non-vegetarian food. So they just used to eat that bread, put salt on it, and eat it.
Yes, it's very interesting this story of Russia. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he had tried to go to Russia many times, but every time his visa was being rejected because it was communist Russia, no? They didn't want a preacher. But somehow there was this scholar who had somehow read and heard about Srila Prabhupada. So he sponsored and he arranged for Prabhupada's travel to Russia. And finally, Prabhupada's visa was granted to travel to Russia. And they gave him a visa only for 5 days at that time. No, and when Prabhupada reached Russia, that scholar he told he had a conversation. Means Prabhupada and he had a private conversation, but he said that I cannot arrange for any classes or public meetings or any such thing, any such public programs. So Srila Prabhupada was disappointed. No, he has come to Russia to preach. Well, what is he going to do there now? What is the purpose of coming there? So initially, he was with another disciple of his. I think so, Shyamasundar Prabhu, if I'm not mistaken. And then Prabhupada was in his hotel room and he was translating his books. And Shyamasundar Prabhu, he went in search of some vegetarian food, no, for Srila Prabhupada. So that time because he was dressed as a Vaishnava with tilak and dhoti and everything, he attracted attention. And there were two people, one Indian boy, he was one of, I think his family member was working for the Indian embassy, and with him was a Russian boy. So they saw this particular person dressed as a Vaishnava, and they approached him and said, "Where are you from?" and all that. And then he said that I'm here with a Swami, Indian Swami, and all that. So they said, "Oh, we would like to meet him because an Indian Swami in communist Russia." So then he said, "Yes, let's go." And then those two boys, they went to meet Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was preaching to them, but that Indian boy was not so interested. But that Russian boy, he was very much attracted to Srila Prabhupada. And for the next, by this time, out of those 5 days, some 2.5 days had already passed. No? So for the next 2.5 days, Srila Prabhupada was preaching to that Russian devotee. I mean, that Russian boy at that time, for 2.5 days continuously, morning to night. And then Srila Prabhupada left Russia. And from that one, that boy, then and Prabhupada also initiated him. Before Prabhupada left Russia, Prabhupada also initiated him, accepted him as a disciple. And from there, this whole Krishna conscious movement in Russia just boomed. Just that 2.5 days of preaching of Srila Prabhupada to that Russian boy. And it is this Russian devotee who was then sent to a prison house, and they tried to deprogram him, and he went through a lot of mental torture, but he never gave up chanting. He never could get out of what Srila Prabhupada had preached to him. No, he's remained sincere and faithful to Srila Prabhupada, and it is his story that he was in this jail and how he uh, remained faithful to Prabhupada. Yeah. So that book is actually very, very nice. I have not read it personally, but I've I've heard a lot of reviews. So if you can read that book, maybe you can share the link in the group later, Shreya. The name of
Sure.
the book.
I think some devotee also sent me a video. There's a drama, so if you like, see that on something.
Yes.
We also wanted to ask, do you want me to read or are you okay reading?
I'll try to read today. My voice is a little better. If I'm not able to read, then I'll request you to read. Okay. Thank you. All right. Aja, your hand is raised. Is it from before or you have another?
From before. Sorry, I will.
Okay, so today we will be seeing by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, chapter 30 of the Krishna book, titled Krishna's Hiding from the Gopis. So what are we going to see in this chapter? Basically, we will be seeing how the gopis now they start to search for Krishna, and they are in separation from Krishna. They go completely mad. No, we see the extreme madness, but divine madness. So we see the divine extreme madness of the gopis when they are searching for Krishna, when they are in separation from Krishna. Then they start to inquire about Krishna from the trees, plants, flower, earth, deer. They are having conversations with these personalities, and they're inquiring about Krishna from them. Then they go into the state of complete absorption on Krishna, such that they start to identify themselves with Krishna. They start to imitate the pastimes of Krishna. No? So that is the advanced stage of madness. It is described by the Acharyas. Then we see how Krishna enjoyed with Srimati Radharani, and then again Krishna abandons also Srimati Radharani. Just as how he abandoned the gopis, he also abandons Srimati Radharani. He disappears from the vision of Srimati Radharani. So we will see in this chapter. When Krishna suddenly disappeared from the company of the gopis, they began to search for him everywhere. After not finding him anywhere, they became afraid and almost mad after him. They were simply thinking of the pastimes of Krishna in great love and affection. Being absorbed in thought of him, they experienced loss of memory, and with dampened eyes, they began to see the very pastimes of Krishna, his beautiful talks with them, his embracing, kissing, and other activities. Being so attracted to Krishna, they imitated his dancing, his walking, and his smiling as if they themselves were Krishna. Due to Krishna's absence, they all became crazy. Each one of them told the others that she was Krishna himself. Soon they all assembled together and chanted Krishna's names very loudly as they moved from one part of the forest to another, searching for him. So see, this is called as the stage of extreme madness. No, they are experiencing loss of memory. Their eyes are damp, no, and they are what do you call it? They are imitating the pastimes of Krishna, and each one of them are telling the others that she was Krishna himself. So they are also identifying themselves with Krishna. So the agony of separation is so much that their madness is increasing. Initial stage of madness where where the eyes are damp, and they are what is described here, uh, experiencing loss of memory, and they are in this stage. That initial stage of madness is described as pramada, and then the stage where they are identifying themselves with Krishna as they are imitating the pastimes of Krishna, that is an even more advanced stage of complete transcendental madness, no, and that is called as unmada. So they are going from pramada to unmada. And because of that madness, they have lost all sense of distinction. They have lost all sense of distinction, and they are identifying themselves. They are considering that Krishna is me and I am Krishna. So they have reached that particular stage. Actually, Krishna is all pervasive. He is in the sky and he is in the forest. He is within the heart and he is always everywhere. The gopis therefore began to question the trees and plants about Krishna. There were various types of big trees and small plants in the forest, and the gopis addressed them. Dear banyan tree, have you seen the son of Maharaj Nanda passing this way, laughing and playing on his flute? He has stolen our hearts and gone away. If you have seen him, kindly inform us which way he has gone. Dear Ashoka tree, dear Naga flower tree, and Champaka flower tree, have you seen the younger brother of Balaram pass this way? He has disappeared because of our pride. So the gopis, they are talking to the trees. The gopis were aware of the reason for Krishna's sudden disappearance. They could understand that when they had been enjoying Krishna, they thought themselves to be the most fortunate women within the universe. And since they were feeling proud, Krishna had disappeared immediately just to curb their pride. Krishna does not like his devotees to be proud of their service to him. He accepts everyone's service, but he does not like one devotee to proudly consider himself better than others. If sometimes there are such feelings, Krishna ends them by changing his attitude toward the devotees. See, so Krishna accepts everyone's service. So there are some devotees who may have a lot of service, and some devotees may be struggling with even less services. So as long as one is getting more and more service, it is an indication that Krishna is pleased with you. Why? Because we can bind Krishna when we render devotional service. When we render devotional service, we advance more and more in our spiritual life, no? And Krishna comes under the control of his devotees, as we know from the Damodar Leela. So Krishna is not going to give away so easily that by which you can bind him. No, we would not give away our secret. How can you defeat me? No, we are not going to give that away to anyone so easily. So similarly, Krishna will give services only to those people who are sincere and with whom he is pleased. If suddenly we realize that our services are going away, somehow or the other, I'm not able to engage in the service, or the services are just going away from me, then it means that Krishna is not so pleased with us. That is an indication. But if you are getting more and more opportunities to render devotional service, and your hands are full, no, and sometimes your hands are so full with services that you have to choose, okay, I'll do this, but I'm not able to do that, then it means that Krishna is very, very pleased with you. The Gopis then address the Tulsi plants. Dear Tulsi, you are much beloved by Lord Krishna because your leaves are always at his lotus feet. Dear Malati flower, dear Malika flower, dear Jasmine flower, all of you must have been touched by Krishna while he was passing this way after giving us transcendental enjoyment. Have you seen Madhava passing this way? O mango trees, O trees of jackfruit, O pear trees, O asana trees, O blackberries and bale trees and trees of the kadamba flower. You are all very pious trees to be living on the bank of the Yamuna. Krishna must have passed through this way. Will you kindly let us know which way he has gone? So they are talking to flowers and trees, and they are inquiring about where is Madhava. Madhava is a name of Krishna. What does that name mean?
Husband of goddess of fortune.
He's the husband of the goddess of fortune. Very nice. The Gopis then looked upon the ground they were traversing and began to address the earth. Dear earthly planet, we do not know how many penances and austerities you have undergone to be now living with the footprints of Lord Krishna upon you. You are very jolly. The hairs on your body are these jubilant trees and plants. Lord Krishna must have been very much pleased with you. Otherwise, how could he have embraced you in the form of Varaha the boar? When you were submerged in the water, he delivered you, taking the whole weight of your existence on his tusks. So now they are talking to the earth. And they are remembering how earth was rescued by the Varaha avatar of the Lord. And he had, at that time, which demon he had killed?
No, Hiranyakashipu's brother.
Yes, his brother. And his name was? What's his name?
Hiranyaksh.
Hiranyaksh. Yes, Hiranyaksh. Okay. After addressing the innumerable trees and plants and the earth, they turned their faces toward the beautiful deer, who were looking at them very pleasingly. It appears, they addressed the deer, that Krishna, who is the supreme Narayan himself, must have passed through this way along with his companion Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Otherwise, how is it possible that the aroma of his garland, which is smeared with the red kumkum from the breast of the goddess of fortune, can be perceived in the breeze blowing here? So, Krishna, who is the supreme Narayan himself, what does this name Narayan mean?
The resting place of all entities.
The resting place of all the living entities. Very nice. Nar means living entity, and Ayana means resting place. So Narayan, that name Narayan means he is the ultimate resting place of all the living entities. So they are guessing that Narayan must have passed through this way along with his companion Lakshmi. Who is this Lakshmi who is being referred to here?
Radharani.
Srimati Radha Rani. See, one of Srimati Radha Rani's names is Sarva Lakshmi. Sarva Lakshmi. Why she is called Sarva Lakshmi is because all the Lakshmis of Vaikunta are coming from Srimati Radharani. So she is the source of all these Lakshmis of Vaikunta. Therefore, she is called as Sarva Lakshmi. Yeah, Shreya, you have your hand raised?
Yes, so he has disappeared with Srimati Radharani.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So these are the prayers just by the gopis except Srimati Radharani.
Yes, actually, the Rasa dance began with Srimati Radharani and all the gopis. But when Krishna disappeared from the midst of the gopis, he left with Srimati Radharani.
Oh, okay. So is this Gopi Geet?
No, that is in the next chapter.
Okay.
Yeah, Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
Why is it that here she is addressed as Lakshmi and then in the next paragraph or so she is referred as Radharani, Srimati Radharani?
Because
Why
here they are
the
referring to him as Narayan, and the consort of Narayan is Lakshmi. We say Lakshmi Narayan. That's why. Okay, let's continue. It appears that they must have passed through here and touched your bodies, and thus you are feeling so pleasant and are looking toward us with sympathy. Will you kindly therefore inform us which way Krishna has gone? Krishna is the well-wisher of Vrindavan. He is as kind to you as to us. Therefore, before leaving us, he must have been present in your company. O fortunate trees, we are thinking of Krishna, the younger brother of Balaram. While passing through here, with one hand resting on the shoulder of the goddess of fortune and the other hand twirling a lotus flower, he must have been pleased to accept your obeisances, and he must have glanced at you with great pleasure. So, what they are saying that the trees are bent. No, the trees are bent because the branches of the trees are bending in order to offer obeisances to Krishna as he's walking past them. So that's why they are saying here that he must have been very pleased to accept your obeisances, and he must have glanced at you with great pleasure. Yeah, Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
now it says Krishna and they still say goddess of fortune.
But Krishna, Narayan is interchangeable terms. You can use that interchangeably also, no problem. Some of the gopis then addressed their gopi friends. Dear friends, why don't you question these creepers who are so jubilantly embracing the big trees as if the trees were their husbands? It appears that the flowers of the creepers must have been touched by the nails of Krishna. Otherwise, how could they feel so jubilant? After searching for Krishna here and there, the gopis became fatigued and then they began to talk like mad women. So now their transcendental madness is increasing even more. Increasing even more. They could satisfy themselves only by imitating the different pastimes of Krishna. One of them imitated the demon Putana, and one of them imitated Krishna and sucked her breast. One gopi imitated a hand-driven cart, and another gopi lay down beneath the cart and threw up her legs, touching the wheels of the cart as Krishna did to kill the demon Shakatasura. One gopi imitated child Krishna and lay down on the ground, and one gopi became the demon Trinavarta and carried the small child Krishna by force into the sky. And one of the gopis began to imitate Krishna while he was attempting to walk, ringing his ankle bells. Two gopis imitated Krishna and Balaram, and many others imitated their cowherd boyfriends. One gopi assumed the form of Bakasura, and another forced her to fall down as the demon Bakasura did when he was killed. Similarly, another gopi defeated Vatsasura. Just as Krishna used to call his cows by their different names, so the gopis imitated him, calling the cows by their respective names. One of the gopis began to play on a flute, and another praised her the way Krishna's boyfriends praised him while he played on his flute. One of the gopis took another gopi on her shoulders, just as Krishna used to take his boyfriends. Absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, the gopi who was carrying her friend began to boast that she was Krishna herself. All of you just see my movement. One of the gopis raised her hand with her covering garments and said, don't be afraid of the torrents of rain and severe hurricanes. I will save you. In this way, she imitated the lifting of the Govardhan hill. One gopi forcibly put her feet on the head of another gopi and said, You rascal Kalia, I shall punish you severely. You must leave this place. I have descended to this earth to punish all kinds of miscreants. Another gopi told her friends, Just see, the flames of the forest fire are coming to devour us. Please close your eyes and I shall immediately save you from this imminent danger. So like this you can see how they are imitating the different pastimes of now. In this way, all the gopis were madly feeling the absence of Krishna. They inquired about him from the trees and plants. In some places, they found the imprints of the marks on the soles of his feet, namely the flag, the lotus flower, the trident, the thunderbolt, etc. After seeing those footprints, they exclaimed, Oh, here is the impression of the marks on the soles of Krishna's feet. All the marks, such as the flag, the lotus flower, the trident, and the thunderbolt, are distinctly visible here. They began to follow the footprints, and shortly they saw another set of footprints beside them, and immediately they became very sorry. Dear friends, just see, whose are these other footprints? They are beside the footprints of the son of Maharaj Nanda. It is certainly Krishna passing through, resting his hand on some other gopi, exactly as an elephant goes side by side with his beloved mate. He must therefore understand that this particular gopi, we must therefore understand that this particular gopi served Krishna with greater affectionate love than ourselves. Because of this, although he has left us, he could not leave her company. He has taken her along with him. So as they are imitating the pastimes and then they see the marks of Krishna's feet. So Krishna's feet, they have 19 distinguishing marks, his left and right foot together. In total, there are 19 distinguishing marks on Krishna's lotus feet. And these are some of the things that are mentioned that are there on his feet, no? The flag, the lotus flower, the trident, the thunderbolt, etc. So they are able to recognize the footprints of Krishna. And then they see another set of footprints beside Krishna and they say, oh, this is definitely the footprints of another gopi. And why Krishna has left all of them and gone with this particular gopi, they are concluding that this particular gopi must have served Krishna with greater affectionate love than ourselves. So they are saying that this gopi serves Krishna better than us, and this is the mood of a devotee. We always try to see how other Vaishnavas are serving Guru and Krishna better than us, and we always try to improve our own services. We improve our services by seeing how others are perfectly rendering their devotional service to Krishna. Shailesh?
So all it says here all the marks such as the flag, the lotus flower, the trident, and the thunderbolt are distinctly visible here. So this is something that is imprinted on the feet of Krishna, or how is it?
Yeah, so there are 19 marks on Krishna's feet like this. So as he walks, then these are visible on the earth. So each of these, there is a meaning to this. Why the fish? Why the half moon? Why the pots? Why the bow without the string? Why the calf print? So like this, there are 19 distinguishing marks. And what is the meaning of each of these distinguishing marks? You can read here on this particular link. Okay, so when I share the slides in the group, you can click on this link and you can read in detail what is the meaning of each of these distinguishing marks. And just as how Krishna has 19 distinguishing marks, even Srimati Radharani has 19 distinguishing marks on her lotus feet. And there is a meaning as to why these particular marks. So that also you can read here. Here in your Veda-based link, you can read about these marks. And why these particular marks, you can click on this link, iskondesiretory.com. There you can read the meaning of these marks in detail. Okay, and also this particular chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam is the only chapter where you can see an indirect reference to Srimati Radharani. So we discussed previously why Srimati Radharani's name is not mentioned in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. No, 18,000 verses and 335 chapters. So why is it that there is no mention of Srimati Radharani in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Does anybody remember?
Yes, because Sukdev Goswami was the very most devotee of Radharani. So when he spoke, he just went in ecstasy, and he was. So he thought that if I utter the name of Radharani, he will faint, and then because Parikshit Maharaj just had 7 days, so he couldn't utter.
Yes. So he doesn't have that kind of time to go into ecstasy and then regain his consciousness and then continue speaking the Bhagavatam. Because Maharaj Parikshit was cursed to die within 7 days. So Bhagavatam was spoken for 7 continuous days and nights. And because he doesn't have that kind of time, he avoided mentioning the name of Srimati Radharani. But here in this particular chapter is that place. So if anybody asks you, where is the indirect mention of Srimati Radharani in those 18,000 verses of the Bhagavatam? It is this particular verse. Canto 10, chapter 30, verse number 28. So see this word here, Aradhita. No, Aradhita. Aradhita. This is that indirect mention of Srimati Radharani. So because her name Radha is coming from the word Aradhana. Aradhana means to worship. And because Srimati Radharani is the perfect worshipper of Krishna, therefore her name is Radha. And because she herself, she is the most elevated personality, therefore Srila Prabhupada taught us how to mention her name. We don't refer to her just by her name, but we refer to her as Srimati Radha Rani. No? So we are applying honorific title before her name and after her name. We say Srimati Radha Rani. So Rani is the honorific title after her name and Srimati is the honorific title before her name. So we refer to her as Srimati Radharani. Now, if you see across Prabhupada's purports, he, of course, many times he refers to Krishna as Lord Sri Krishna or Bhagavan Krishna. But most of the time, Krishna is referred to as Krishna only, most of the time. So Krishna is referred to as Krishna only, but when we speak about Srimati Radharani, we apply the double honorific title before and after. She is that kind of an elevated personality. So therefore, we should be very, very careful when we speak about her, and we should not misunderstand Srimati Radharani. See, Krishna, one of Krishna's names is Madana Mohana, but Srimati Radharani is Madana Mohana Mohini. She is that personality who can attract Madana Mohana. So therefore, she is called Madan. Madan Mohan means he is the attractor of thousands of cupids. Krishna is the attractor of thousands of cupids. And Srimati Radharani is that personality who can attract that personality who can attract thousands of cupids. And Krishna is known as an avatar. Avatar means all the incarnations are coming from Krishna. But Srimati Radharani is Amshini. If he is Avatari, then she is Amshini. She is the cause of all the consorts of Krishna. All the consorts of Krishna, all the Gopis of Vrindavan, all the wives of Dwarka, and all the Lakshmis of Vaikunta, they are all coming from Srimati Radharani. So she is the source of all the consorts of Krishna. So therefore she is called as Amshini. One of Krishna's names is Govinda. So and she is called as Govinda Mohini. She can attract, she can completely mystify Govinda. So therefore he is Govinda, but she is Govinda Mohini. No? And Srimati Radharani is also called as Sarvakanta Shiromani. Sarvakanta Shiromani means she is the crown jewel, crest jewel of all the consorts of Krishna. Nobody can worship Krishna better than Srimati Radharani. She is the embodiment of Mahabhav. Mahabhav means the topmost stage of love of God. And she is the embodiment of that Mahabhav. So therefore, Srimati Radharani, very, very elevated personality. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada applied the double honorific title before and after her name. Yeah, Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
There is a slight mention in this chapter which is not exactly contradicting, but So when we say Madan Mohan Mohini, which we all accept that she is Madan Mohini, but then in this chapter, at the end of it, it says that Srimati Radharani, she showed a little pride, and then there's a sentence which says something to the effect of Krishna is self-sufficient, so he doesn't need the pleasure, so he disappears. So then, slightly contradictory, slightly.
Yeah. So hold on to your question. I have a slide exactly answering your question at the end of the class. Okay. So this is the verse. This is the verse where you have this word Aradita, the indirect mention of Srimati Radharani. These are the lotus prints of Krishna and Srimati Radharani. And here I put both of them together. They are both here together in this slide if you want to make a comparison. Okay, coming back to Krishna book. Dear friends, just imagine how the dust of this place is transcendently glorious. The dust of the lotus feet of Krishna is worshipped even by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and the goddess of fortune Lakshmi. But at the same time, we are very sorry that this particular gopi has gone along with Krishna, for she is sharing the nectar of Krishna's kisses and leaving us aside to lament. Oh friends, just see. At this particular spot, we do not see the footprints of that gopi. It appears that because there were some pinpricks from the dried grass, Krishna took Radharani on his shoulder. Oh, she is so dear to him. Krishna must have picked some flowers in this spot to satisfy Radharani, because here, where he stood erect to get the flowers from the high branches of the trees, we find only half the impression of his feet. Dear friends, just see how Krishna must have sat down here with Radharani and tried to set flowers in her hair. You can be certain I'm sorry. You can be certain that both of them sat together here. Krishna is self sufficient. He has nothing to enjoy from any other source. Yet, just to satisfy his devotee, he treated Radharani exactly as a lusty boy treats his girlfriend. Krishna is so kind that he always tolerates the disturbances created by his girlfriends. So, first the gopis are saying that both the footprints are there, and then they see that here the footprints of the gopi is not there, so they assume that he must have carried her on his shoulder. And then they see that only the prints of his, only half the impression of his feet are there, so they are guessing and they correctly guess, no, all these things that they are assuming, it's all actually correct, that Krishna went on his toes in order to pick some flowers for the satisfaction of Srimati Radharani. So see here, what Shailesh was saying, the line is here: Krishna is self-sufficient. He has nothing to enjoy from any other source. So Krishna is Atmaram. Atmaram means he is completely self-satisfied. He does not need anything outside of him, anything external of him to satisfy himself. Yet, just to satisfy his devotee, he treated the Radharani exactly as a lusty boy treats his girlfriend. But there is an insight to this given to us by our acharyas, which we will see later. Okay, coming back to Krishna book. In this way, all the gopis pointed out the faults of the particular gopi who had been taken alone by Krishna. They said that this chief gopi, Radharani, must be very proud of her position, thinking herself the greatest of the gopis. Yet how could Krishna take her away alone, leaving all of us aside, unless she is extraordinarily qualified and beautiful? So see, initially the gopis are thinking that how could Krishna leave us and go with this gopi? But then they are concluding also that she is extraordinarily qualified and beautiful. So because Srimati Radharani is more qualified, more beautiful than the gopis, therefore Krishna has left the place with only her. She must have taken Krishna into the deep forest and told him, My dear Krishna, I am now very tired. I cannot go any further. Please carry me wherever you like. When Krishna was spoken in this way, he might have told Radharani, All right, better get on my shoulder. But immediately Krishna must have disappeared, and now Radharani must be lamenting for him. My dear lover, my dearest, you are so fine and so powerful. Where have you gone? I am nothing but your most obedient maid servant. I am very much aggrieved. Please come and be with me again. Krishna, however, is not coming to her. He must be watching her from a distant place and enjoying her sorrow. So it is described how Krishna wanted to take Srimati Radharani deep into the forest, and he wanted to create a flower bed where they can take rest, because Srimati Radharani is very tired. She is exhausted from walking so much in the forest. And when Krishna proposed that let's go deep in the forest, I'll create this flower bed and we can take rest, she immediately agrees. She immediately agrees. Now, why she immediately agrees? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that she is thinking that Krishna is also tired and he has not slept, and she doesn't want, she is thinking that if Krishna doesn't sleep, then that is inauspicious. So she wants Krishna to take rest. Therefore, immediately she agrees to Krishna's proposal of going deeper in the forest and creating the flower bed so that both of them can take rest. But now what has happened? Srimati Radharani, she tells Krishna that I am tired, you carry me. So Krishna says, okay, get on my shoulder. But immediately after Krishna says that, okay, get on my shoulder, then Krishna disappears from her vision. So Srimati Radharani cannot see him anymore, and then she is hankering that, oh Krishna, where are you? Please appear before my eyes. All the gopis then went further and further into the forest, searching out Krishna. But when they learned that actually Radharani was left alone by Krishna, they became very sorry. This is the test of Krishna consciousness. In the beginning, they were a little envious that Krishna had taken Radharani alone, but leaving aside all other gopis. But as soon as they knew that Krishna also had left Radharani and that she was alone lamenting for himself, they became more sympathetic to her. The gopis found Radharani and heard everything from her about how she had misbehaved with Krishna and how she was proud and was insulted for her pride. After hearing all this, they became actually very sympathetic. Then all the gopis, including Radharani, proceeded further into the forest until they could no longer see the moonlight. So as they are searching, as the gopis are searching for Krishna, and they come across these footprints, etc., and they conclude of all that has happened between Srimati Radharani and Krishna, then they actually come across Srimati Radharani. She is actually fainted. No, she has lost her consciousness because of her extreme agony of not being able to see Krishna. So they see her in that state where she is unconscious, and then when she hears the wailing, the gopis are wailing because they see Srimati Radharani in an unconscious state. So they are wailing, and then they start fanning her, no, with the peacock fan. They are fanning her, and because of the fanning and because of the wailing, then she regains her consciousness, and then she explains to them what happened. No, so whatever they were guessing has happened has exactly happened, and then they are feeling sympathetic towards Srimati Radharani. See here how they find her unconscious. And then she regains her consciousness, and then again she is crying in separation for Krishna, and she is telling all that has happened. When they saw that it was getting gradually darker, they stopped. Their mind and intelligence became absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. They all imitated the activities of Krishna and his speeches. Due to their heart and soul being completely given to Krishna, they began to chant his glories, completely forgetting their family interests. In this way, all the gopis returned to the bank of the Yamuna and assembled there, and expecting that Krishna must return to them, they simply engaged in chanting the glories of Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 30th chapter of Krishna, Krishna's hiding from the gopis. So what has happened now after Srimati Radharani has told them what has happened? Now they all go, the gopis along with Srimati Radharani, they are all going deeper and deeper into the forest in search of Krishna until they reach a point where it is very, very dark. So then they sit down and they start to chant his glories. So that leads to what is called as the Gopi Gita, the song of the gopis, which we will see in the next chapter. So as we discussed, out of all the 335 chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam, these 5 chapters which describe the Rasa Leela are the crown jewel of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. No, they are the highlight. And of these 5 chapters describing the Rasa Leela, chapter number 31, which is the Gopi Gita, the songs of the gopis in separation of Krishna, that is the most important of these 5 chapters. So that we will see in the next class, if Krishna so sanctions. But before we end today's class, I would like to read a very, very nice commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. See here, he has written this commentary for verse number 38 of the 30th chapter of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll read the translation first and then we will see the commentary. Thus addressed, Lord Krishna replied, "Just climb on my shoulder." But as soon as he said this, he disappeared. His beloved consort then immediately felt great remorse. So this is the verse where Srimati Radharani is lamenting for Krishna because Krishna has disappeared. So let us see what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. When Radha spoke like this, Krishna began to consider as follows. I see that Radha has given up her natural behavior of being bashful and uncooperative. A proper girlfriend does not readily consent when her lover tries to bring her to a flower bed. If she has abandoned her contrary, Vamya nature, then why should I not give up my nature as a cooperative lover who faithfully follows in obedience a girlfriend a girlfriend he has enjoyed. So what is he saying here is that Krishna is thinking that Radharani has given up her natural behavior, her natural Vamya nature. Vamya nature means she does not always agree with whatever Krishna says. No, she has her transcendental fiery nature. So there are disagreements, transcendental disagreements, in order to enhance the relationship. See, if there are 2 people, let's say a husband and wife, if the husband always agrees to whatever the wife says and the wife always agrees to whatever the husband says, then it may be a very, very peaceful relationship, but it will be a very boring relationship. There will be no spice in the relationship. No, so to spice up that relationship, Radharani has this Vamya nature, which is contradicting to what Krishna says. So therefore here Krishna is thinking, Srimati Radharani very readily agreed when I said that let's go deep in the forest and I will create a flower bed and there we can take rest. She immediately agreed. No, usually she will not agree so easily. So Krishna is thinking, because Radharani has gone against her nature, then why don't I also give up my nature as a cooperative lover? We'll read that again. If she has abandoned her contrary Vamya nature, then why should I not give up my nature as a cooperative lover who faithfully follows in obedience a girlfriend he has enjoyed? This becomes necessary now. If both lovers have the same nature of being cooperative or uncooperative, there can be no tasting of rasa. Therefore, those who are experts in the art of love are not going to criticize me if I give up my nature now. Rasa becomes tasteful when it properly follows the emotions of the woman. Moreover, now is the opportunity to see Radha, who possesses the utmost love, in the special condition that is brought about by separation from me. This is something which I have desired to see for a long time. So Krishna is thinking, she has changed her nature, so I will also change my nature of being a cooperative lover. And then Krishna is thinking, rasa will also become more tasteful if he disappears from the scene. No? And this is a good opportunity to see Radha in that emotion of separation. Um, so we discussed in the previous class how there are 5 rasas, and in the Madhurya rasa, there are 2 rasas. One is love in union and other is love in separation. And there is more ecstasy in love in separation than there is in love in union. So Krishna is thinking now will be a very nice to see Srimati Radharani in that mood of separation. No? So these are the other things that Krishna is thinking. Then Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains. These gopis have perceived the greatness of Radha's good fortune when she is embracing me. Now let the other gopis see the exceptional condition Radha attains in separation from me. By seeing the extraordinary state of Radha's mental anguish generated from her extreme prema in separation, they will all drown in the ocean of amazement. Let the subterranean fire of Radha's separation from me later ignite the flame of separation in all of them. So he is using Srimati Radharani as a means to show the other gopis how Srimati Radharani is in a far superior position and how they can also learn to lament. They can also learn this ecstasy in separation from Srimati Radharani. Then what else? Then when Radha has experienced the fullness of direct union and separation, this sweet mellow of conjugal love, Shringara Ras, will have become complete. When by my expertise I have made Radha feel separation, then after my dispelling all her pain and separation, all the gopis will share the same mood and I will be able to properly inaugurate the rasa dance tonight. Otherwise, if I were to appear in front of the other gopis, after having enjoyed privately with only Radha, their minds would not be settled. So Krishna left the rasa dance with only Srimati Radharani because Srimati Radharani is in the most exalted position compared to the other gopis. But now Krishna is thinking that if I go back to the rasa dance after enjoying only with Radha, then the gopis will feel that justice has not been done, no? Because Krishna has only enjoyed with Radharani. So to in order to set the right mood, he has also abandoned Srimati Radharani just as how he abandoned the gopis. So he's saying then that will set the mood and properly inaugurate the rasa dance, Krishna is thinking. Then, considering all these factors, Krishna then spoke with a desire to suddenly disappear. He disappeared means that even as Radha watched Krishna standing there, he removed himself from her vision. When Vrishabhanu Nandini said, "Carry me wherever you want," she had been thinking as follows: "Since I am tired from playing and wandering through the forest, I want to take some rest. If Krishna spends the whole night without any sleep, that will be inauspicious and cause his unhappiness. If he is leading me to a flower bed, let him do so. He can take rest there." For this reason, Radha did not disagree. So this is the reason why Srimati Radharani immediately agreed to Krishna's proposal of going deep in the forest and resting on that flower bed. We should understand that in this case, Krishna's Leela Shakti, who is full of the mood of Premaras, covered over Krishna's awareness of what was going on in Srimati Radhika's mind in order to perfect his various pastimes. So now one may question, all right, Srimati Radharani is thinking that I want Krishna to take rest because if he does not sleep throughout the night, then it's not auspicious, no? So she doesn't want Krishna to go through that thing of not taking proper rest. But Krishna knows the mind of everyone. So how Krishna was not able to tell what is going on in Srimati Radharani's mind, that also Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains that this is because Krishna's Leela Shakti covered Krishna's awareness of what was going on in Srimati Radhika's mind in order to perfect his various pastimes. Okay, so I didn't put here that particular thing about, I thought I'd put it here. But it is somewhere there in this chapter in Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. He writes, let me see if I can quickly find it. Answering Shailesh's question about him being Atmaram. See here, okay. So this is the commentary of verse number 34 from chapter 30 of Canto 10 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes, even though Krishna is self-satisfied, he enjoyed with Radha because his own pleasure increases in her company. I repeat, even though Krishna is self-satisfied, he enjoyed with Radha because his own pleasure increases in her company. In other words, Krishna does not experience the same happiness in his own self-satisfaction as he does in association with Radhika. So Krishna is fully self-satisfied. He is Atmaram. He does not require anything outside of him to satisfy himself. But even that Atmaram feature of Krishna is not enough, in the sense that when he is with Srimati Radharani, then he enjoys even more satisfaction than he is getting when he is using his feature of being Atmaram. That is the position of Srimati Radharani. Okay, Shailesh? All right. I also wanted to read one section from we have time, so see, just to understand the position of Srimati Radharani, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this is a commentary on verse number 39 of chapter 30 of Canto 10. So there is a conversation between Srimati Radharani when she is lamenting, when Radharani is lamenting that Krishna has disappeared. There is a conversation between Krishna and Srimati Radharani. No? So in that conversation, Radha is saying, Hey Nath, Srimati Radharani is saying, Hey Nath, O Lord, I am being burnt in the great fire of separation from you, and my life air is about to leave my body. Even with the greatest endeavor, I cannot maintain my life. But you are the Lord of my life, and so you can quickly save me simply by glancing upon me. Please do so immediately. I beg you to save my life, not for my sake, but rather for yours. After giving up all the other gopis, you brought me here so far to a secluded place in the forest just to enjoy special pleasure with me. If I die, you will not be able to find conjugal happiness anywhere else. You will remember me and thus lament in your sorrow. Krishna says, So let me become unhappy. What does that matter to you? Radharani says, But you are my dearmost, Preshtha. You will feel your I will feel your unhappiness millions of times more than you. Even if I have tried, even if I have already died, I will not be able to tolerate the pain that even one spot on your nails of your lotus feet may experience. Indeed, to prevent such pain, I am ready to throw my life away millions and millions of times. Kindly show yourself and drive away that unhappiness. So, see, Srimati Radharani, she is saying her love for Krishna is so much that she is saying that in order to prevent the pain, even on one particular spot of your nail, I can die millions and millions of times over. No, so that is the kind of love Srimati Radharani has for Krishna, and that is why her position is so much more exalted. So, with this, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we come to the end of today's presentation. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Do we have any questions or comments? Priyanka?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I have just one small question. We see in Bhagavad Gita, mixture of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we see in Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is advising Arjuna to follow his Kshatriya dharma and to fight in the battlefield. And also we see in this Krishna book also that Krishna is encouraging the gopis. I don't know, I don't remember exactly when Krishna is also encouraging the where we were talking about the chastity of the woman and to follow what is the dharma of the woman, patni dharma or pativrata, something like that. And at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, we also see that dharman parityaja, to abandon all varieties of dharma. So how to distinguish what Krishna is advising to Arjun and the gopis? On one hand, we see that Arjun followed the advice of Krishna, and on the other hand, the gopis followed the mood of Krishna. I may be wrong. I don't know. I may be wrong.
So it's confusing because, see, Krishna, he is Leela Purushottam. He attracts everyone to him by his Leelas. So the different people all these living entities, all conditioned souls, each of them may have different kinds of tastes. So some of them may be attracted to that form of Krishna where he's telling Arjuna, always follow the rules and regulations. But of course, Krishna at the end tells him, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja, give up all varieties of religion and simply surrender unto me. So what he is doing with the Gopis also is that Gopis also are doing Sarva Dharmam Parityaja. They have abandoned all varieties of religion and they are simply surrendering to Krishna. So if you go to see in that way, there is no contradiction. Okay. Because what the Gopis did also Sarva Dharmam Parityaja, Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Here even Arjuna did the same thing, right? So why Krishna is telling something to Arjuna and telling something else to the Gopis and something else somewhere else is because he is performing pastimes in all the rasas. He's performing pastimes in all the rasas. Now somebody who's on the platform of Sakhya Ras with Krishna, no, he has a natural attraction to the Sakhya Ras or Krishna's pastimes as a friend, then he will be attracted to this particular pastime where Krishna is relating as a friend to Arjuna. But somebody else may have a different taste. Somebody else may be attracted to the Madhurya pastimes of Krishna. So to attract the conditioned souls who are on the who have a taste for Madhurya Leela pastimes, then he performs pastimes in Madhurya Leela to attract those kind of conditioned souls. So he is doing different kinds of pastimes in all the different moods, in all the different rasas, in order to attract everyone, no matter which rasa you are in, what is your taste, what are your likes, what are your dislikes. Everyone can be attracted and nobody can remain outside his circle of mercy. That's why he does what he does.
So ultimately, it depends on the person whether to follow the dharma or whether to follow Krishna, something
So
like that nature of.
the ultimate dharma is sarva dharma parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. If you, Krishna told Arjuna, no, abandon all varieties of religion and simply surrender unto me. So that is the greatest dharma. There is no greater dharma than that. So see Arjuna's why point is that there are other dharmas. No, like Kula, there is Kula dharma for Arjuna. Kula dharma means it is also his dharma. It is his duty to protect the elders of his family. But in order to follow what Krishna is saying, he has to give up that dharma, that Kula dharma, because instead of protecting his family members, he has to kill them. Right? So there are different dharmas, there are different duties, but at the end of the day, the biggest dharma is simply surrender unto me, Krishna says. So if you have to make a choice, right? I have to do this dharma and I have to surrender unto Krishna, then definitely you have to surrender unto Krishna. If that is the choice, like for Arjuna, right? But if, of course, we all have our dharma, right? We have our duties as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a whatever duties we have, that those duties we have to do. But always the highest dharma that I have to surrender to Krishna, that should be number one on our priority list. We have to love our children. We have to take care of our children. Yes, we have to. It's only natural that we have affection for our children. So we are not going to neglect our children because we are always engaging in, say, services in the temple. Krishna is not going to be pleased with that. So as we are taking care of children, at the same time, we have to think of Krishna. Just as how Arjuna fought the war, at the same time, he thought of Krishna. Arjuna did not fight the war because he wanted to gain the kingdom. He fought the war because he's doing it as a service to Krishna. So we do our duties, but always keeping in mind that we are doing this as a service to Krishna because we want to please Krishna, like that. We should not misunderstand that we have to give up our duties and then only, no, we have to do both. You do your duties, at the same time you think of Krishna.
Yes, yes. Now I understood clearly, Mataji. Actually, we need to make a choice. There are choice of following dharma and to surrender to Krishna. Yes. In every case, surrender to Krishna is followed in
Yes.
both case, in case of Arjuna as well as in the case of Gopis also.
Yes, we have to do both. We have to do both. We are not at that stage of spontaneous love like the Gopis, where we just drop everything and go to Krishna. We are not on that stage of spontaneous love. So we have to be careful.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Shailesh?
maybe this is not the chapter where to ask this, but then when the bond between Krishna and Srimati Radharani was so strong, why is it that he then leaves the village and then he never comes back to Srimati Radharani and he marries Rukmini? Why does that happen?
Yeah, he marries Rukmini and 16,108, 107 more women. He did come back to Vrindavan. It's not that he never came back. At the end of his pastimes, he came to Vrindavan and he took all the Vrajavasis back with him, back home, back to Godhead. So he did come back before he wound up his pastimes. Okay. And why is it that so many say there are always, as I discussed, there are external reasons and there are internal reasons. Now, what is the external reason is when he went to Mathura, the original plan was that he will come back to Vrindavan after finishing up his business in Mathura. No, but when he went to Mathura and he was reunited with his parents, with Devaki and Vasudev, then Devaki and Vasudev, they knew that if Krishna goes back to Vrindavan, he will never come back to us. So they did not give him permission to go to Vrindavan. They didn't want him to go back to Vrindavan because they wanted to spend time with their son, no? Because Krishna was separated from them immediately after birth. Now, this is the external reason. What is the internal reason is again this, that there is more love in separation than there is in union. So that is called as Vipralamba Bhav. So when the Gopis and Krishna were separated, then they are experiencing what is called as the Vipralamba Bhav, that ecstasy and that love in separation. They are going through more ecstasy in the separation than they would experience when they are together. So that's the reason why the relationship that Krishna has with any of those 16,108 queens is not at the level of the love that Krishna has for Srimati Radharani and the Gopis. That is far more superior because that is the mood of Vipralamba Bhav, love in separation. So that is the internal reason.
And the external reason is that his parents won't let him go back.
Yes.
But he could have called for Srimati Radharani if that was the
So
external
Srimati
reason.
Radharani did go to Kurukshetra. That is also there. I mean, Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and Srimati Radharani, they went to Kurukshetra and they met with Krishna in Kurukshetra. But that time, Srimati Radharani said that this is not the Krishna that I loved. Because in Dwarka, in Hastinapur, and in Kurukshetra, Krishna is the king. He's the king. He's not a simple cowherd boy. He's not a simple cowherd boy. So she was not happy with what she saw because she's not used to seeing Krishna in that mood of being the king of Dwarka, living in 16,108 palaces, in all that opulence. No, so as I said, in Vrindavan, his sweetness overshadows his opulence, but outside of Vrindavan, his opulence overshadows his sweetness. So Srimati Radharani said that this is not the Krishna this is not her Krishna. So that also we will see later in the Krishna book.
That's what I thought, that maybe it is a way to signify the fact that, this is now he's entering a different phase of life, which will be vastly different than his time at Vrindavan, is
Yes.
what I used to always believe.
Yes.
Because I believe that after leaving Vrindavan, he never touches the flute again.
Yes, correct. Flute only for Vrindavan.
Yes. So then he knows, in fact, that that now where I'm going and what I'm supposed to do will be completely different, and it'll be a completely different life. So I thought it signified that in a way.
Yeah, but still Krishna is not leaving Vrindavan. We still have a good few chapters to go before Krishna leaves
No,
Vrindavan.
no. I'm saying when he leaves Vrindavan, I always thought, used to think that this is because he's signifying to us. Because Krishna is sending a message to us. He doesn't need to do anything on his own. So I always thought that he was trying to send a message that this is a different phase of life. And then during that phase of life,
During that phase of life?
the sweetness had to go, unfortunately.
Oh. But anyway, as I said before, Krishna has to perform leelas in all these different moods to attract all the different categories of people. So people who for whom Krishna's opulence is more attractive, then Krishna is playing out these pastimes of more opulence in Dwarka where he's living as a king and other things. No, so he wants to attract all different categories of people in all different moods, all different rasas. So that is the why he's doing these leelas in different rasas. But at the end of the day, his Vraja leelas, Vrindavan leelas, the relationship with Vrajavasis, that is topmost. That sweetness is not there. See, it's just like with your child, you may enjoy a lot of sweet pastimes, but when the child grows and then the innocence is gone, the sweetness is gone, then you see, oh, this guy is so successful, or my son is very intelligent, and but that sweetness is not there in the relationship anymore. So, what do you enjoy more? Definitely the sweetness. We enjoy our pastimes with our children also when they are still young, isn't it? So sweetness is always more attractive. That's your son. How old is he?
He's 3.
3. Good. Enjoy your pastimes with him before he grows.
Yes. He every night he asks me to repeat the same story. I ask him which story do you want, and he says the story of Krishna and Kalya.
Very nice. So you have a very big responsibility to raise your son in Krishna consciousness. If you can make him a devotee, then you fulfill your duty as a father. Okay. So that's one service Krishna has given you. Very important service. Okay, Shreya.
Yeah, very beautifully asked, Shailesh Prabhu. Like, it just made me so emotional. So my question was, but Krishna never leaves Vraj too, right? We have heard that
Yeah,
as well.
yes. I was about to say that. Yes. Actually, the Acharyas explained that Krishna never left Vrindavan. He was there in Vrindavan, but from the material angle of vision, he was not visible. But actually, Krishna never left Vrindavan. See, when it is described by our Acharyas, no, even Gauranga Prabhu, I have heard him say in his lectures, when Krishna appeared to Mother Yashoda, when Mother Yashoda gave birth. She actually gave birth to 2 children, one boy and one girl, to Krishna and Durga, to Yogamaya. No, and when the children were switched, when Vasudev brought Krishna, the Krishna who had appeared from the womb of Devaki, when he brought that Krishna and interchanged it with that girl, then the Krishna that was born to Yashoda and the Krishna that were born to Devaki, then they became one child, one Krishna. And then the Krishna that left Vrindavan was again that Krishna who was born from the womb of Devaki. And the Krishna that was born from the womb of Yashoda, he remained in Vrindavan. So actually, Krishna never left Vrindavan. He only left from the external angle of vision. Yes, that's correct.
So then there were still pastimes going on?
These pastimes eternally go on in Vraj, but again he was away from the vision. So the gopis are still crying in separation. They are still crying in separation because he has disappeared from the vision of the Vrajavasis. But actually, Krishna was there.
How can we understand that?
How can it be? Well, that's how it is. He is disappeared from the vision, just as how even now in this today's chapter, we read we read Srila Vishnu Chakri Thakur explain that Krishna disappeared means even as Srimati was Radharani was looking at him, he suddenly disappeared. So he is there, but they are not able to see him.
Okay. And then one more thing, what Priyanka was asking, about like abandoning all the religions, but still doing your duty. Like what's the priority? For example, if you have to choose serving your family versus serving Krishna, if you have to choose, what should be the priority? Of course, like serving your family while keeping Krishna in mind, but like practically, what should we choose then?
No, when you serve your family, you are automatically serving Krishna. Because you don't see that you're serving your husband. You see that the Paramatma is residing in the heart of your husband. So you are not, you are, when you serve your family, you are automatically by default, you are serving Krishna and you're also pleasing Krishna. Because another one quality of a Vaishnava is that he is very, very merciful. He is very compassionate. So we show compassion to our family members by taking care of them. Because when we take care of them and when we show them, when we are pleasing them by our service attitude, then that will melt the hearts of even the most hardcore, let's say, for example, somebody is a hardcore atheist. No? If we try to preach and preach and preach to a hardcore atheist, that may probably repel him away from you. But if you just with a humble attitude, we just serve the person day in and day out, then that will melt the heart of the person. Then the person will accept you more as a, then the person say, oh, a devotee is so nice. No. So we as Vaishnavas, we want to show compassion to the other living entities. We want to serve our families, irrespective of whether they are devotees or non-devotees. We do our prescribed duties. And when we do that, automatically we are serving Krishna, because the Paramatma is there in the heart of every living entity. You are not offering obeisances, you are not being humble to that person. You are being humble and you're serving the Paramatma in the heart of that person. This is the mood of a devotee. So you are doing that by default. See how we prioritize. A devotee should prioritize like this. First comes health. First of all, you have to take care of your health, because if you don't have health, how will you engage in any service also? So first is health. Then comes your personal sadhana, your 16 rounds and 4 regular principles. That should not go at any cost. Then 3 comes family, right? So first health, then personal sadhana, then comes family, then comes your preaching. Your preaching activity, whatever you do outside of your 16 rounds and after taking care of families, then you can engage in your preaching services. So this is how we have to learn to prioritize. First health, then your personal sadhana, then taking care of family. I'm sorry, after family comes your job. You have to also take care of your job. Not that I give up my job and I engage in preaching services. No, because you have to have an income in order to take care of the family, in order to provide your children with a decent education. All that also comes a part of taking care of family. So health, personal sadhana, then comes your family, then comes your job, and then comes your preaching services.
But what if you cannot do your personal sadhana? If family requires you more?
No, there is no excuse for not being able to do personal sadhana, because you can always see. I know devotees, if the husband was not cooperative, so they would chant when the husband is sleeping. They would get up at 2, 3, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. when the husband is still sleeping, and they would chant their rounds. So that you can do. 2 hours one can take out to finish your 16 rounds. You have to do it when the husband is sleeping. Definitely whoever it is, whether it's your husband or your parents or children or in-laws, whoever, if they are not appreciative, but when everybody is sleeping, then you can chant the rounds and take care of your personal sadhana.
Okay, then what is, like, how we understand, like, abandon all varieties of religion, right? So that means then you have to, like, you abandon everything and go to Krishna, right?
So that is your number one on your priority list. That's why personal sadhana comes before family. So you do both simultaneously. It's not that you abandon family or you abandon personal sadhana one for the other. No, you have to do both simultaneously. Now, if there's a very extreme case, like for Arjuna, there was this extreme case where he had to choose between Kula Dharma and fight because Krishna wants him to fight. Then he had to give up the lower religion in order for the highest religion. If it comes to the extreme case where you have to make a choice, then there are lower dharmas and higher dharmas, and the highest dharma, then you go for the highest dharma. But as far as possible, you have to do both.
Highest dharma, which is like not
The lower religions you give up for
for
Krishna. Yes.
Krishna. Okay.
Yes. That's why personal sadhana comes before family.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. What else? Are we ready for the exam? I forgot that there is an exam in the flow of the chat. Okay, let me share the link. 1 second. There, it's there in the chat. Can you access it?
Yes.
Okay, your time starts now.